plain red tent stands by dispassionate. The tent looks old but well maintained. In the darkness of the tent, a rolled-up sleeping bag. It reeks of cigarettes. Assorted soft covers, mostly pulp horror. A motor carriage lies buried in the snow on one cover. On another...
See anything?
Rager Monthly, Journal of Material Science. You pocket the worn brown leather journal a trusted friend left behind.
We should read this immediately, like right now.
A thick journal. The cuff is made of full-grain leather. This was important to her, when it was still hers. The journal falls open. About 2/3 the large cursive of someone who writes perhaps too confidently. Many phrases and even paragraphs have been crossed out, with tiny corrections scrawled above and in the margins. It's a mix of logistical notes, diagrams, and personal reflections, all dated.
It's good she left in a hurry. We could learn a lot from this.
Hard to tell exactly. It's mostly noted down in code.
There could be useful information about local operations in those notes. We have a junior sergeant at my station who's good with codes. I can give this to her after we finish this.
Esoteric radio technology. The most recent ones probably pertain to the latitude compressor, sketches, calculations of distance and density. You make out a familiar spiral shape. Short, wry observations of people and places. Probably a way to pass the time on the road. Also, what appears to be attempts to sort through some difficult decisions. There are a few passages with many questions in them. Staff issues, always tough on the leadership. You smell traces of betrayal. Hard to tell it.
There could be useful information.
The first entry is from August 2nd of last year. It reads simply, I know my position is precarious. Nothing on March 4th. March 5th, though, well, that's bound to come back and bite me in the ass. I'm bad at this. Loyal, you have no idea what she means. These are personal notes. Don't expect to understand all of it. Nothing on... You have no idea what she means. These are personal notes. Don't expect to... Nothing. You have no idea what she... That name isn't mentioned as far...
What about this M? Could this be La Puta Madre? Here, March 9th.
Great. M's peon is coming to town. No doubt to investigate the lynching. But also, I feel it in my gut to finally put a... Then again, isn't that what I've been doing ever since I... The call? Did M call her personally? Why? Were you supposed to find her? Even apart from the investigation then? On M's request? No, you didn't follow through. You should have shot her in the head. The thought steadies your nerves. The journal stops shaking in your... Been holed up here for 3 days now. I'm used to being alone and all, but I don't know when I'll be able to leave, or if I'll be ratted out. They will rat me out. Did M feel truly betrayed by me? I was feeling threatened. He'd have to know if he threatened people. They'd take measures to protect themselves. The entry ends abruptly. The most recent entry, even when I leave here, if I leave here alive, what's my next move? Staging a lynching is a crime, even if I'm not accused of murder on top of that.
It looks like she might have been... framed?
That would be a first, or a fourth. But who's counting, he thinks. Very rarely does anyone actually get framed.
No, I don't think you are. Ask someone in your precinct if you want to be sure.
His trust is well placed. You aren't. You can feel it.
I wouldn't go so far as to say that. Besides, I'm not sure her life as a fugitive is going to be much better than Weda's. Especially if she has problems. Clausia was the one who pointed the finger at Ruby. Perhaps she was trying to steer us away from... Either way, we need to... One thing is for certain. We have business back in the whirling...
The tent.
Come on! Get in and close the flap behind you.
It's safe to assume this is their leader.
Sorry, we barely have room.
You go ahead.
I'm actually not, he thinks. I just did.
I'm sure you will feel right at home. I'll keep watch.
Go speak to Andre. I'm just annoyed. I suck at socialising, man. If you go speak to Andre, I'll have time to chill.
Maybe you should just stand there. Watch him rattle his toolbox. Get to know the contents of the young man's toolbox are organized in a neat yet eclectic manner. It's a bit hypnotizing if you look at...
I have all kinds of screws. They'll come in handy. Talk to Andre. No point in standing here.
You see a youngish man bleaching the tips of his hair with a toothbrush.
Hello, I'm Andre. It's a pleasure to meet you.
His grip is strong, sweaty, and warm.
This is my posse.
The young man with earrings looks.
An egg. Egg! Together with a settled burger, who's out there right now, doing some seriously progressive sonic experiment. We have many in the...
That means they haven't set up.
You see, we've been all over Jamrock North, prospecting for real estate.
On us often.
Yeah, thank you, Egghead.
Places.
I apologise for my friend Noid's potty mouth. I realise this is not how you speak to a police officer. He has authority issues. Ah, so you've met her? Yeah. It's a matter of occupied ecclesiastical property. I bet you've noticed the derelict hive of narcomania on the...
An attempt to pander to your perceived conservative sensibilities. No person his age would ever use a word like narcomania.
I'm talking about the church, and I'm not exaggerating. Even a place of spiritual refuge can...
Dubheads. Burnouts.
Well, I'm sad to say, that's exactly what happened. Sad because we were just about to put Martinez on the map with one of the maddest dance clubs in Jamrock. Nah, strike that. In Reversholt.
Strike that!
And sadder yet, because the dopeheads and burnouts hold up in there with the worst...
He leans back a little, watching you with a steady, serious gaze. Good. This calls for an opinion. You're an expert in those.
They're spooky. I was hoping you would be the judge of that, officer. All I can say is, their spookiness is the kind that keep...
Also, they don't eat or clean the bill. People just want to spin tapes without them spooking it up. Place is bad.
Thank you, Egg. So you're gonna look into it, right? All right, man.
Andre's obviously very happy you took him seriously. The whole tent is. The boys exchanged giddy looks.
I did ask Noid to install a measure against more drifters wandering in. It's a temporary fix, just something to...
I had to do it in an hurry. Not my best work.
Of course. Noid.
All right.
It's as if time has frozen somehow. You think you can sense the key. Blam! Straight in the eye. Man up. It's nothing. Pick the goddamn key up. Put it...
My bad.
He looks like he's genuinely sorry. He didn't.
As always, we'll be right here.
Heavy wooden doors. The lock.
Let's go.
As you do, you hear the echo of the doomed commercial area. It's a great whoosh of air rushes into the dark inner in the heart of the city. The silence in this part of the church, it's almost palpable. Maybe if you were to stand in just the right spot, even your footsteps would be completely, and then it's gone. You can hardly hear your own breathing. Your voice is barely audible. Not a howl, it's unnerving. You produce a few muffled thumps, after which the lieutenant points to his ears and shakes.
Can you hear anything? I wonder why the church was...
His detached tone conceals how uncomfortable he is. The lieutenant doesn't reply, but you can sense the orderly rows of ceiling panels become barely visible, then disappear completely in the darkness of the tower overhead. Just darkness without end. It makes your head spin. You see, maybe it's... Is that a man? Looks more like part of the car. The man leaned forward a little.
Habitual alcohol use has made you into a scared little pussy, Holmes. But don't worry, everything's gonna be all right. I'm here to receive the mother's love. You can too, Holmes.
This man is obviously a habitual narcotics user. Do we really need to question him?
I'm put off by this religious stuff, he thinks. And maybe the ceiling climbing, too. Hey, and what was that about the bottle again?
Oh yeah, sure. You don't know anything about alcohol use. You got it all under control, Way. I was like you once.
You know, actually, since we're here, you may want to...
If the lieutenant agrees, then maybe, just maybe, you should pay attention. Look at these crazies. What is this?
Fuck you, Crabman! You don't tell us what to do! Tell him!
The only thing we need to talk about? This is the Church of the...
You have no idea what the fuck he's talking about. Is he just trying to throw you off your game?
The ones in the tent outside, right? I see him. Think they scared of me. Absolutely, man. Wouldn't bother me none to have him. Might even be nice to have...
He said that in spite of himself. He's more attached to the human than he'd like to think.
Other spooker? Oh.
Viejita is...
No. I just call her Viejita because of her clothes. She's actually quite young. Or maybe not that young. Age is just one of the many masks we wear. That's what I... Don't really follow her comings and goings. Just see her typing on her computer now. I'm afraid not, S.A. You just have to wait until she...
Or search through her radio computer.
Up there, Holmes.
What does he mean, in part?
Aboyadero? No, Holmes. Haven't you ever met a Mex before? Cabron. Surprising number of us around. You know, I'm not so sure myself anymore. Don't really matter, though. Glad you're feeling more comfortable. Oh man, I done my share of illegal shit. Used to be in a gang, the whole deal. But even memories of that time are fading. Most of them are already gone. Convenience has got nothing.
There's a profound longing in that gaze, like he wants to be one with whatever is up.
Do you remember your name?
The lieutenant is not particularly interested in this information. He's just...
Tiago's my name, but those syllables don't mean much to me these days. A name isn't just your identity, but also your place amongst your fellows, your place in the world. I ain't got no use for such a place anymore. That's just the thing, Holmes. None of this is a special. I circled it, nurtured by the silence bestowed by the mother. One of these days, I think they were, a long time ago, I had to shed them like skins.
The sinewy figure. A machine stands in the corner.
Another radio computer. And this time it's already turned on.
These machines sometimes harbor traps, he thinks.
We should probably let it be. This little foray bears little connection to the case, no? It's also quite similar to the one we have down at the station.
The one you saw earlier was the ream. You see, the lieutenant says nothing. Behind the hatch sit another filament memory. The speaker comes to life.
Good evening. Votre accident en Saint-Brune. This is the East.
It's the same old woman you spoke with through the radio computer in the doomed commercial area.
Good. Please.
Let's look around. Maybe he knows something.
Received. Votre accident.
The machine's keyboard is still... Nothing happened.
Oh, hey, Wade, there's
Coffee in the back. Something familiar about that.
Too many times, Ese, you need it for something. Don't sweat it, vato. The past.
That is true.
What you think of that? Makes me almost pity La Nili. Look, man, I'm at liberty to talk about. I think we're done here, Ese.
That was, however, I'm still not sure.
The machine's keyboard is the speaker.
Good evening. Votre accident en Saint-Brune. Good. Please. Good. I have unlocked votre accident. Is there anything else I can do for you today? I have 2 machines registered to this camp.
Saint-Brune. That's the church. And Rue de Saint-Guylaine? That's...
Anything else? Good. Thank you. Please repeat. Is this... Sleep well.
The machine's keyboard is behind the hat. Another filament memory. The speaker.
Good evening. Votre accident en Saint-Brune. This is the East in Sleep. Sleep well.
The machine's keyboard is still illuminated. In white, silver, and apricot veil, cradled in her arms, are a pair of glowing lungs, clearly visible from your knees touch the floor. The floorboards are hard and cold. There, the world is silent, but for the creaks and cracks, the ocean feels distant. It's in the darkness. You sense her eyes on you, inspecting you with their multicolored glow. The woman looks down at you, kneeling. She towers among her followers, architects, laymen, courtiers, as that soft word passes through your mind. The lieutenant draws an X shape. Your fingertips touch your chest 4 times. Then you rise from your knees into the apricot-colored light of the window. Above you, The woman still smiles her distant smile, sundered by the mother of humanism stands above you. Despite the damage you've done to yourself, the title appears lodged in your hippocampus. No amount of Commodore Red can the highest category of historic more. And innocence is elected to, and innocence is infallible. The decisions made by one are not decisions. They are No, we are alone. Terrifying is a term too terrifying. It's a simple word. She was bad for humanity, and you shouldn't have started thinking about her. You already do. She was the most socially secluded and least self-aware of all the innocences. The Mesk state tried to detach itself from suggesting that she adored chess. Yet little is known of her Marchese husband.
Lieutenant Yefrater, you've stood there for over 5 minutes. What are you thinking of, if I may ask? That she is. A great sacred piece. I wonder what we are doing here, however. In this church, I mean. The coast in general. Yes, I wasn't sure before, but this must be the DeLorean Church of Humanity in Martin. It's a minor landmark, not easy to find. Most maps misplace it. It was built not... There used to be 7 stave churches on the coast. We should be respectful here, although the building appears to be deserted. We have already found the instigator.
There it is again. A small pang of guilt. It's time to ask him what happened here.
I have a theory, yes. There was a police raid a while back. I heard the place was shut. Well, your station was involved.
How come the lieutenant isn't sure?
3 precincts were involved in the raid, and people say Precinct 41 was one of them. I'm sorry, I'm not saying you were. It was a clandestine operation. I don't know anything about it. Good luck. You will not get information on a confidential operation from your station secretary just by... It happened a while ago. It's an important...
The mother of humanism stands above you. The pressure, the shards glimmer in